Hi, James.
Hi, Bonnie. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you this morning?
I just finished watching the documentary. It was hard to watch. It definitely was hard to watch. All I can say to you is you got a lot of strength, lady. A lot of strength. Bless you for it.
Well, thank you. And although it's difficult to watch, it's reality. And, every bit of that was just hardcore reality, and it's what's going on in our society today.
Did Judy's Law ever take in effect?
Yes, it did. It went
Good.
into effect in Ohio, and part of the foundation that we started, judysfoundation.org, is working to frame better laws state by state, and then ultimately at the national level, see what we can do to better some of the laws and resources to people.
So, what would you say to our audience about Judy's Law and what your daughter went through?
Um, Judy started with just wanting to help one woman as she suffered for 2 years in the hospital. And she kept telling me, Mama, just want to help one woman. And then it was so important for her to get on the record what happened to her. She knew that she was going to succumb to her injuries. So she agreed to testify to her own homicide and back off on all of her pain medicine, face her perpetrator, and endure about 3 hours worth of questioning just to be able to tell her side of the story so that we could begin to help other victims with domestic violence. So it all really circles back to she wanted to help just one person.
And then it looks like she's going to help a lot of women out with this. It really does. Uh, the day of the sentencing, that very last day in court, what was going through your mind that whole time? From what I could see, what was going through your mind?
We had not heard the testimony until the day, her testimony until the day in court. And I think what really stuck out in my mind was how ironic that the defense fought to keep her testimony out of the court system, albeit her testimony saved his life from the death penalty because she testified she did not want him to have that after she succumbed to her injuries. So that was pretty extraordinary to me. And then the second thing was obviously how broken and hurt her children was, as his daughter was in the courtroom and he had pled guilty, and so that he could maintain a relationship is what he shared. So yeah, a lot was going through my mind.
Bonnie, what is your son's name? I fell in love with him. I really did.
Say that. I'm sorry. Pardon me.
Yeah, Judy's brother. What's his name?
Oh yeah, Patrick. Yeah. Uh-huh. Her
Pat.
brother. My
I fell in love. I fell in love with Patrick. I really did. I really liked his spirit, his attitude. Talk about him a little bit.
Patrick has a diagnosis with Down syndrome. He loved Judy. He called her his rock and roll sissy, and he has a kindred spirit where it's so simplified that he is more spot on than we are. And he certainly kept the family grounded for sure during that. So again, it goes back to that stereotype. Perhaps he may be stereotyped, Judy was stereotyped, but we have to stop that.
You're absolutely right. Because again, like I said, I fell in love with Patrick. You could feel his spirit. You really could.
You are spot on too. Good observation.
Oh man, been speaking with Bonnie Bowles. You've got to see this MTV documentary, "The Fire That Took Her." That's about the film and her daughter's legacy. And Bonnie, this Judy's Law should be national. It definitely should be.
Well, thank you, and we're going to work hard if it means going door by door. So, thank you for having me, and I want to thank Trish Gillespie and MTV Documentaries for doing such a good job of putting together this documentary, albeit it was hard, difficult, raw footage.
You know, it's interesting. I understand it's being nominated for an Emmy.
Yes, it is nominated for an Emmy, and I must say it is a well-deserved Emmy. It was a long road, but it is well-deserved, and it's a subject that Americans need to get out and watch it, and then we need to do something. We need to start in the family, start in the home, and build that back up and start listening to people with domestic violence. And the stigma of discrimination has got to stop too.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Thank you again for joining us on Morning Blend. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.